Hey, what's going on there, folks? Earthmaster here. It is November 15th, 2018 to be exact, and just watched the community briefing or news conference there with the Sheriff of Butte County and also many other public officials there announcing that, well, the death toll from this campfire has risen up to 63 people. They did find 3 more people in Magalia, 3 more in the town of Paradise, and also 1 in the Concow area. So that's total 7 people that they found today. And the sheriff mentioned that he kept mentioning not bodies, but the cremains. Right, so cremated, but remains that were bodies. So that's from the sheriff himself that he stated that word, cremains, instead of the remains. So anyway, 63 people total found today, and that's unfortunate. The number of missing people have risen. I know it was confusing a lot of people. You know, it was around 200, 300. Then it dropped down to about 130, I think, and then now it's at 600 people missing and unaccounted for. So I'm not for sure why that number risen, but you know, they're overwhelmed. By they, I mean the Butte County Sheriff and Cal Fire and everyone else that's been handling this disaster in Paradise, California. You know, it's just overwhelming amount of catastrophic events taking place here with a loss of life, you know, staggering. So it's you know, they're only human too, but I'm not for sure why a lower number was put out, but now it's 600 as of November 15th, 2018, 7:30 p.m. West Coast time. Over 600 people missing with this campfire, the campfire in Paradise, California. Acres burned. Looking at about 141,000 acres burned so far with 40% containment. We do not have any winds, any type of major events, weather events, until next week sometime here in California, where we're expected to finally get some rain after, almost 6 months? 6 months without rain, 7 months without rain now. So we're finally getting some rain coming in next week, right around Tuesday. Lasting through the weekend to the weekend. Thanksgiving looks pretty wet around here, so that's good for the fire, although not necessarily good news for recovery efforts when it comes to finding remains or cremains of individuals that may still be missing or that are out there in the ashes somewhere. Because once you get water and rain, you know, it just pretty much washes all off and makes it almost impossible to find. Of course, you know, they're trying the best that they can. They've definitely brought in quite a few personnel to expedite the procedure, and hopefully they get that taken care of. I just don't see them getting it done before the rain comes. But anyway, so right now 9,700 residences have been destroyed. That's almost the entire town of Paradise, and 290 commercial buildings have been destroyed there. So unbelievable amount of damage with this terribly horrible fire. I mean, it's just disaster here today. Smoke quality was in the index of about 305, which is I believe it's hazardous air quality. My throat's been hurting all day, even though I'm inside, and I've been having a major headache. I haven't gone outside much at all. It just is not good. It's very, very hazardous. List of shelters and whatnot. Quite a bit of folks are full. There is talk about letting some folks head back into the area by zone, just to see if their house is still standing or not. But that's kind of in the early stages of talk right now. And it would be limited. You know, you'd have to, of course, show where you live and which zone you're in, and from there they'd only have a certain amount of time probably being escorted by police or whatever. I'm not for sure, but it's still dangerous up there, folks. When I was up there a couple days ago, there's telephone lines in the road, poles in the road, hundreds of cars still in the ditch, burned. You know, it's just a disaster. It's not any place for normal people to go up there. You know, it's hard to wonder if your home's still standing or not, but you know, they want to make sure it's safe for the people going up there. There's holes in the road from where cars burned, you know, where they towed the cars away. They're finally starting to tow the cars away, but where those cars had burned, there's nothing left of the pavement. So you got these huge holes in the ground there. It's just super duper unsafe up there. So yeah, 3 injuries, 63 civilian fatalities, and it's I have a feeling that list is going to continue to rise until well, before this is all said and done with. So not a good thing, folks. It is, you know, a pretty scary situation out there. Horrible fire, to say the least. Covering earthquake data, I just wanted to cover the campfire there just to keep it updated here to the viewers and the subscribers. I know I was live streaming for a while on that issue, but since then the news have only been running updates when it comes to press conferences and stuff like that. So earthquake activity has picked up rather dramatically today. 6.3, the latest earthquake down here in the southeast Pacific rise out here. You can see that right there in the blue flag. This earthquake taking place here just a short time ago at a depth of about 10 kilometers. Once again near the southern East Pacific rise. And that's a pretty good sized shaker there. A little older earthquake down here towards the bottom of the globe here. As you can see right there, Antarctica. A couple 5s down there taking place. Latest being a 5.4, but that's getting a little bit old because the color of the rings there is starting to turn color towards the red. Red indicating the oldest earthquakes. Pinkish color like this, kind of light red, is medium, and of course the newest ones are going to be in the white colored rings, and of course the most recent earthquake is going to be in a green flag, which is just a 2.0 in Southern California. We're actually right around the Bay Area, it looks like. So yeah, activity continuing to increase over here on the western part of the Pacific Ring of Fire. There nothing major over here yet, but I expect that to change here with the increase in activity over here on this part of the plate, right? Whenever we do see an increase in pressure, an increase in magnitudes of earthquakes over here, we always look within you know, hours sometimes, if not hours, definitely within the next 24 or 48 hours of an increase in larger earthquakes over here on the western part of this huge Pacific plate. Sporadic earthquake activity over here in the Middle Eastern region, and also towards the Mediterranean Sea region as well. Nothing major to report in that region. Chile, South America region, all up and down their coastline right there, seeing a bunch of 4s and some 3s at a not super deep, but it is down there below surface there. Looks like probably 50 to 100 kilometers. Some activity occurring down there. So earthquake activity up here in Alaska as well. You know, a couple months back we did have that rather large earthquake that struck up there. These ones right here are taking place in an area just to the west of the area that we had seen that large earthquake. Let me zoom in a tad bit here. Of course, you got Alaska up here. The 2.9, this one right here is where that large earthquake took place a couple months ago. Can't remember the magnitude, but it was a rather large one, and the largest that area has seen. But now we're seeing a little bit of earthquake activity here towards the west, northwest region of Alaska, with a couple 4s and some 3s in there as well. I believe there's a little bit bigger magnitude in there. Let me see if I can't squish that down to 5.0, being the largest in that cluster of earthquakes. And so that's an area to watch as well. Just kind of interesting, seeing that activity up there. Deeper earthquake activity. We did have some deep earthquake activity that's getting ready to fall off the 24-hour time frame here near Fiji. which happens quite often, and also up here towards the Japan region as well. Looks like a 4 point, what do we got there? Lower 4, mid 4s up there. In some pretty deep range there as well. So there is a rather large earthquake. Actually, it looks like it's coming into the seismograph stations right now. Hold on a second here. I'm just looking on these seismographs here. As you can see, let's see if you guys can see what I'm seeing here. I believe you will once it rolls back around. Okay, so you're just starting to see this area right here. That's a rather large earthquake coming in. Japan is picking it up kind of last. It's more or less closer to the Fiji Islands region right here. You can see the more recent signature compared to Japan. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, and I'll update it if this is a rather big one. It's hard to say exactly how big this earthquake is that's taking place right now, but it's definitely not showing up yet on the... I don't believe it's showing up yet on this. There's that 6.5. Did we see that earlier? Maybe that is the one that's just hit. I don't believe so. Let me check the information on this one here. 6.5 in the Solomon Islands region, occurring 0326 UTC time. 0326. So that is the latest earthquake there showing up, because that's when we started getting the data coming in there. So yeah, rather large earthquake, 6.5, just now happening. Because that wasn't there a minute ago. I was like, there's no way I missed that. So 6.5 occurring, like I said, near the Solomon Islands region, 33 kilometers below the surface. I don't believe they're going to have a any type of tsunami, but I will check that here for you folks real quick and get some information on that. Let me key that in here. Hold on, you guys probably can't see what I'm looking at here, but I'm reading the most recent information on the this 6.5 earthquake here. No warning watches. It says a earthquake with a magnitude 6.5 occurred. Based on all available data, a destructive Pacific-wide tsunami is not expected, and there's no tsunami threat to Hawaii. So we're all good on that. But definitely a rather large earthquake, 6.5, occurring in the Solomon Islands region right there. So, all right, folks, stay safe. Like I said, this didn't I just mention once we see earthquake activity over here, it could be just within a matter of hours before we see it bounce back on this side. And yeah, I guess it kind of listened to me right there. But it's just it's something we see quite often over here on the eastern part of the Pacific Plate, and even down here towards the south. Once we see some movement, and on a rather large scale with this 6.3, we definitely turn the other eye up here towards this portion of the plate. And it looks like it's doing what it's supposed to do. That's plate movement, plate tectonics, and that's going to happen. And I expect most likely up around here, around the Japan region as well, we're going to see some activity. If not, a little bit closer towards the Alaska, Aleutian Islands region, we could see some mid-6s as well. So we'll keep an eye on that area. And all right, folks, I'm going to give my throat a break. Like I said, it's been smoke's been killer. It has not been pleasant, you know, but I feel bad for all the folks that have lost all their homes, you know, and have to deal with this smoke out here. It's and be homeless, you know. It's a pretty horrible situation for those folks. So hopefully things get better here in the coming days, coming weeks, but it's going to take years before things are all better. Have a good night out there, folks. We'll chat to you guys a little bit later on. Stay safe.